Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stands. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. I hope you're doing very well because we've got lots to talk about tonight. Manchester United potentially ending their transfer business, ending their interest in Trippier, a bit of a blow in relation to Cavani, and a very interesting look at the size of Manchester United's squad again. I've got something visually to show you that I think you're going to find very enjoyable and is very big, and it's this. Manchester United's matchday squad. Well, I'll explain that in a moment. But look, let's get into the show. Fabrizio Romano live on the show today. If you've not checked that out, it's on the homepage. All the transfer news you need to know. However, the headline is United end transfer business. A story has come out this evening that Manchester United are going to put the checkbook away, that Solskjaer is very happy with the transfer business, and that is it. Finito. Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? We'll talk about it. I don't really believe it because we had Romano on this afternoon saying he thinks there'll be another signing. Manchester Evening News has hinted that there'll be another signing. You can see both sides. I can see why United might be thinking about not doing it. But what I would say from my side and many fans' side is we do need to do more. And realistically, is Jadon Sancho coming to the club when he should have come last year and Varane enough? When you've not sold anybody, you've not got a midfielder, and you tried to sell every single United fan up the river a few months ago, putting in a Super League. I don't think they've done enough. I don't. I think that it's been a good transfer window, I'll say that, but in relation to what these owners tried to do 3 months ago, I don't think this is anywhere near enough. Nowhere near. Stop trying to go, oh, we've done enough. You've not done enough. You need to do a bloody lot more. Do more. Because if you don't, those things that happened at the end of last season they're not going to get forgotten anyway, but I don't think they've done enough. I think they've done enough. Oh, we've made Team Viewer happy. We're selling kits. We've got a couple of good players in. We've done enough. I don't think you have done enough. I think United need to buy a midfielder. And I think if they don't, then you've not done enough. It's as simple as that. But, look, so the story is that that's going to be it. There is a little bit going around tonight. I mean, look, it's coming from the Mirror that Manchester United are going to put their checkbook away. I wouldn't really go for the Mirror over Romano or Manchester Evening News, but they might be right. But what is interesting is, and I suppose it might be a progression from this story I'm going to tell you. This is from The Athletic, and a couple of other outlets are going with this as well, and Romano hinted at it this afternoon on the show. Dalot is looking like being one of the two right-backs for Manchester United this season, and that Trippier is very much looking like it's going to get parked. Manchester United thought they could get Trippier for about 10 to 15 million pounds. Atletico Madrid want to start the bidding at 28 million pounds, which is double what United wanted to pay. Manchester United, look, you could say, oh, you're moaning about us not signing a player, but then you're agreeing with it. Well, that money can be spent better elsewhere. I am a fan of Dalot. I've been a little bit undecided, but I think I am a fan of Dalot, and I'd rather we gave Dalot a chance this season than bring Trippier in and destabilise Wan-Bissaka. Because I think with Wan-Bissaka, there's a big curve to go up with Varane next to him. I'm excited to see Wan-Bissaka this season. So I don't want Trippier come in and basically derailing that. And I think Dalot is an upgrade on Williams and is a player that we can use in the Carabao Cup, and he's a young player. I just think Dalot's more exciting than Trippier. Trippier's better than Dalot, but at 31 in September and for the money we're going to pay, I'll be very happy if we parked the Trippier story to stick with Dalot. But I don't think that means it's the end of our transfer business, because I still think a midfielder is valuable. There is no sane world where United not getting a midfielder is a good transfer window, says Give It to Mikey. We're going to talk about Cavani in a minute, but I wanted to bring you straight in towards this. So, where am I? Where am I? You can't not put yourself in. Put yourself in. There you go. Let me just shift across a little bit here. Can we shift across a bit? Yeah, there we go. So, the Premier League today have announced that Manchester United are going to be, and every other Premier League club are going to be allowed to use, I need to move myself a little bit more. Manchester United and every other Premier League club will be allowed to use 9 substitutes this season. So 9 substitutes this season. So I just wanted to do a little bit of an experiment based on how big our squad is, just to show to you. I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to show you here, because I still believe we need to buy a midfielder. But look at that. Look at that. Would you look at that? 25, 26, 27 senior players there. Not one of them really youth. I haven't put Ahmad there, and I haven't put Alanga there, and I haven't put Hannibal there, and I haven't put Shoretire there. So you've got a first team there of, like, the first team is the team that's on the pitch. So you can see, you know, I've got 2 sevens. I thought Sancho was going to wear 7. So you've got Sancho, Cavani, Rashford, Bruno, Pogba, Matic, Luke Shaw, Maguire, Varane, Wan-Bissaka, De Gea. Don't worry if your favourite player's not there. That can change around. Everybody is somewhere. But that's your 11. That's your first 11. Then I've got 9 subs. I haven't got Henderson there, but he is one. Henderson, Lindelof, Telles, McTominay, Van der Beek, Fred, Mata, Martial, Greenwood. Again, don't get in a bad mood if your favourite player's not on the bench. 9 players there plus the 11. That's your match day squad of 20, right? But on top of that, you've got Heaton, you've got Dan James, Jesse Lingard, you've got Phil Jones, Diego Dalot, and Eric Bailly. So we have got, wait for it, we have got a massive 26 senior players, and I haven't added in Ahmad, Alanga, or any other youth player like Shoretire or Hannibal. 26 senior players Manchester United have got. And if we buy a midfielder, which we need to do, 27. But this is the problem. We desperately need a midfielder, but when you look at that squad, you can see why the board are going, you're not having anybody else. Because we just haven't got rid of it, and that terrifies me. We desperately need a midfielder, but look at the size of that squad. Pereira I'm getting rid of on loan. He might still be here. Dean Henderson and Heaton aren't on there because I haven't got them, but you can add those 2 there. So Heaton would be with this lot on the side, and Henderson would be on the bottom next to Lindelof, and you can put Heaton next to James. So those 2 are there as well. But look, I mean, that is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. 26, 27 senior pros. I mean, really, every single player on that left-hand side should get next to... Every player here should go. We should have sold all of them. Realistically, we should have sold all of them, apart from Dalot. I'd keep Dalot and put him on the bench and as a backup bench player. But we've just got too many players. Way too many players. And look, you could swap Mata out for Lingard, but Mata's definitely staying. And also, 9 substitutions is a real... false economy, because you can only ever make 3 subs, can't you? So I think it's still going to be 3 subs. So 9 subs is a bit of a joke. It's a waste of time for some people. Oh, they're on the bench, but they won't get used. But absolutely massive squad for United. An absolute shambles that we've got such... I mean, what football team has got 27 senior pros? And don't forget the financial cost of that. Financial cost. Those 6 players plus Heaton next to my shoulder here. They're not even on the bench. Imagine how much that they're earning there. 80 for Bay, 80 for Jones, about 100 for Lingard, so that's 260. Dalot will be on about 300. Dan James probably about 70, 370, and Heaton's probably on about 50. 420,000 there. We're not even on the bench. Crazy amount of money. Crazy amount of money on that squad. But look, maybe that's why we're not looking to buy anybody else, because we've got so much deadwood. If we sold the right players that we don't need, there's easily 60 plus million there to invest in a first team CDM, says Christian Nichols. And welcome to the Members Club, Keith G. And I think that's the thing for me. Pep will love the idea of 9 subs Alpha Gaming, yeah. But I think that's the thing for me, isn't it? We talk about buying another player, and I think we do need another midfielder. And we talk about signing Varane and Sancho, and they have been very, very good signings. But the failure again for United, and this is nothing to do with Ollie really, this was going on with Van Gaal, it was going on with Mourinho, it was even going on with Moyes. The failure to remove players from this team, the embarrassment of having 27 senior players, none of that's made up of youth, 27 senior players. Disgraceful at this level. And also, I wouldn't mind it if it was like Man City. You know, you've got 2 first teams. We've barely got we've not actually got a first team yet, really. You know, we've probably got 13, 14 players that you'd use for first team. Over half of that 27, you wouldn't wish they were at Southampton, would you? Phil Jones is back in training. That means we're going to play with 5 defenders now, says Nicholas. Don't know what that's all about. So look, yeah, maybe we're not going to buy somebody else, but we definitely need to buy somebody else. And I would be not happy if we didn't. But look, I think the big issue here, and the reason I wanted to just give you a couple of minutes on that, is to show you that yeah, you can celebrate the signings we've made this summer, and they've been very, very, very good. But we failed massively in removing players from the squad. And I haven't even put Pereira on there. So Pereira, whether he goes or not, I didn't even include him. Pereira makes it 28 senior pros. So let's wait and see what happens. Thank you, Alpha Gaming, for the super chat there. Thanks for the super chats that are coming in. Lots to get involved with the show anyway. But let's talk about Cavani. Cavani's setback is in the title of the show. So Edison Cavani is not going to be involved in the Leeds game. I think we suspected that anyway. He'll be pushing it for the Southampton game. He should be about all right, but might not be all right for the Southampton game. God, it's a good job we're not starting the season on Saturday, is it? So the story tonight is that Edison Cavani is due back in Manchester on Thursday and may have to quarantine himself. Now, I don't know, I presume it's the same as Varane. It doesn't matter that he's played for United, it's where he's come from. And if he's not double vaxxed, which I don't know whether he is, because a lot of players aren't vaccinated, then he will have to quarantine for 5 days again. So that means his first training session wouldn't be till a week on Wednesday, 2 or 3 days ahead of the game against Southampton. So we might not have Cavani back for the Southampton game. So what I would say about this, more panic buying if we lose the first game, Mark, says Steve Locke. I would hope that United are looking to buy a player regardless of our fixtures. But I think that the interesting thing is that with Cavani, there's two strands with Cavani, right? The main strand here is this was planned. And the reason it's been planned, and I can't argue with this, the reason Cavani's not back till Thursday is because Cavani wasn't going to come back at all. He was going to leave. So United have persuaded him to stay for another year. And part of that persuasion has been, you can come back late, spend more time with your family. Somebody was on about today that he's just had another child as well. So what if Ollie goes for a striker, says Abda? I don't think he will. But yeah, United have agreed with Cavani that he doesn't need to come back till Thursday and he can have a longer holiday than everybody else. And he has had a lot longer holiday than everybody else because Fred's back ready to play, and Fred played further in the Copa America than Cavani did. So he's had a longer holiday, and the reason he's had a longer holiday is because United have allowed that. And you can understand why they've done that. Of course, from a footballing side, and I don't know why people... I put this out on Twitter before I went live. I went, so Cavani's not back till Thursday, he might have to quarantine. Good job the season's not starting on Saturday, is it? And you get the moaners going, what are you moaning about? You're acting like United haven't agreed it. And I'm like, whoa. I know United have agreed it. It doesn't mean I have to agree with it myself. Somebody put a quote out yesterday, I don't know whether it's true, where Solskjaer had said something about the first 3 games of the season are an extension of the pre-season. I don't know whether that's true or not, and I sort of understand what Ollie's on about anyway. It doesn't mean he's ready to give the points up, but I think the first 3 games of the season doesn't matter what pre-season you've had, the first 3 games of the season are very much about getting your fitness levels up at a competitive level. But what worries me a little bit is that Sancho's come back late. Varane, we haven't got done quick enough. Cavani's coming back late. I don't think Pogba and Fred look ready yet. We've got probably 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 first teamers that are not ready for the Leeds game for various reasons. On top of that, we've got the Tellez injury, we've got Henderson, and we've got Lingard who've had the COVID. So they're struggling with that. My only concern is that there are 38 Premier League games in a season. Why is Leeds on the opening day any less important than Liverpool away whenever we're playing them, or the last game of the season, whoever we're playing? This is 3 points. It's a Premier League season of 38 games, and this is 3 points up for grabs. Are we prepared for it? Answer no, we're not. And that can be for understandable reasons, but don't tell me I can't be concerned that our preparation isn't great. I understand what we've done with Cavani, but would I want Cavani fit and ready for that first game where there's 3 points? Yes. I understand Sancho's only started training today, but would I have liked Sancho back training a week ago so he's ready for the game against Leeds? Yes. I understand we've had a problem with the visa with Varane. Would I have liked that problem not to have been there and has maybe do the medical over in Madrid? Yes, because I want him available for Leeds. Can we beat Leeds with what we've got? Yes. Would we have a better chance of beating Leeds with Cavani, Sancho and Varane? Yes. So, and a fully fit Pogba, Fred and everybody else? Yes. So, my concern is we are playing a bit of a gamble with the game against Leeds. And look, some of it is on Ollie. He's happy. You know, I want Cavani to have longer with his family. I want Sancho to have a longer break. You know, some of it's been made by Manchester United, but there is an element of risk. There is an element of risk in that Leeds game where we could end up dropping points, and you know how the football world works, because if we did drop points against Leeds, people will be saying, well, you know, Varane, why was that not ready? Why was Sancho not ready? Why was Cavani given longer? Why was Pogba given longer, etc., etc.? And I just don't want that to happen. But regardless of whether we win or we lose, I think we can sit here as fans and say we're not prepared for that Leeds game as much as we could be. And there may well be mitigating factors, and I'm not saying that those reasons are not right, but you can't tell me that we're fully prepared for Leeds, because we're quite simply not. There's 3 or 4 very important players that are not ready for that Leeds game, and 1 or 2 of them might start, but are they fully ready? And I think that's the thing. And I'm not moaning about the fact that Cavani spent more time with his family, but we have got a big game on Saturday, and we have got a big game after that against Southampton, and they're not. It's not the Community Shield. It is 3 points for grabs. And I just hope we can get the points because we don't want to have a bad start. And as I said last night, we've got 6 very winnable games. The first 6 games are very, very winnable. Leeds, Southampton, Wolves. I think we've got Villa in there, West Ham in there, and Newcastle in there. So 6 very winnable games. We win those and everybody's back, happy days. But we've got to make sure we win these first couple of games. That's 420k a week is 21.8 million over the season. That would contribute to the CDM, says James George. Yeah, 100%. Going back to what we were talking about there. All those players above my right shoulder, they're surplus players. You know, even with a 9-man bench, we've still got about 400k of wages on my right hand side. Massive amount of players in this squad that we really don't need all of them. Are you happy about no Trippier and having Dalot as backup, says Salah Ahmed. So yeah, if you've tuned in a little bit late, apparently we're retracting from a Trippier deal and we're sticking with Dalot. For me, I'm very happy about it. Are you happy with it? I am very happy about it because ultimately I'm a big Wan-Bissaka fan, and I do think we're going to see a very different Wan-Bissaka this season without Lindelof next to him. I think with Varane next to him, he's going to benefit. Luke Shaw's a brilliant individual left-back, but only a fool would say that Harry Maguire has not been a big part of his success, and only a fool would say that Luke Shaw's not been a big part of Harry Maguire's success. As a pair, they've taken each other up to a new level. I think Maguire and Varane will take each other up to a new level, and I think Varane and Wan-Bissaka will take each other up to a new level. Varane is going to help Wan-Bissaka massively. So I'm 100% behind Wan-Bissaka this year, and I think Dalot just fits the profile of what you want as a backup right back. I don't think Brandon Williams was ready to be a backup right back because we don't know whether Brandon Williams is good enough, so he needs to go on loan. But with Dalot, I think this is the season where you go, yeah, you're the backup right back, and you know what? I'm not going to treat you like Telles. I'm not going to overplay Luke Shaw so Telles doesn't get any game time. We've got Champions League football, we've got Carabao Cup football, we've got Premier League football. You will get game time, Diego Dalot. And I'm happy with that. I am happy with that. Won't Jesse being positive affect his transfer if there was any, like medicals and stuff, not necessarily fitness-wise, but no off days to complete it, says Sheikh. I mean, that's a good point about Jesse Lingard. I mean, get your chat in. Really looking forward to some of the questions that are going to fly in because we're approaching that sort of time now where we're thinking about transfers and game time. I think Jesse at latest tested positive on Friday, probably before that. So I don't know how long you have to isolate now. I think if you've had a positive, if you've let the world know that you're positive, then I don't really think you can be anywhere near training for, is it 10 days after your first symptoms? So that takes Jesse beyond the Leeds game into early next week. And then it's about whether he's got long COVID. So he could end up staying at United because he's got long COVID. But I would imagine that Jesse will be back training the week after next week. Which still leaves 2 weeks in the transfer window. So Lingard could still end up going. Obviously, he'd have to have somebody come in for him and he'd have to pass their medical. But I think Jesse's capable of leaving United at the end of the summer, at the end of the month. But whether he will or not, I don't know. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is going to benefit massively from Sancho and Varane, says Abdor. Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. Luke says he's just got here. What's gone on? So Cavani's not going to be coming back until Thursday, which puts him out of the Leeds game and maybe the Southampton game if he's got to quarantine. We don't know, but because he's coming in from Argentina, I imagine he might have to do what Varane did. Not Argentina, Uruguay. 5 days. Might have to quarantine. So we might not have Cavani back even for that first game. Of course, the benefit the risk of not having Cavani is that we might lose points. The benefit of having a longer break at his age is that it's a longer break for him, isn't it? After a very demanding season and a Copa America. So he might benefit from a longer break. We just hope we don't drop points without him. Because there might be chances against Leeds that you go, Cavani buries that. And that's the risk, isn't it? So Cavani's not going to be back for maybe a couple of games. Certainly not the Leeds game. There's talk that United's transfer business is over and that we've come out of the Trippier deal to keep Delot, which I think is a positive, but I don't think our transfer business should be over. But you can see why we need to get rid of players when you've got that many players. Add Heaton, add Henderson to that picture, and you've got 27 senior players. 9-man bench, 11 players, and these players above my shoulder worth about 400 grand a week in wages who wouldn't even be on the bench. So we've got a surplus of players, massively. But we do need to buy a midfielder. You can't just not about that. Ahmad's not there either. Alanga's not there either, Mohamed. So that takes it up to 29. You're right. Massive amount of players. Brandon Williams, if he doesn't go on loan, that would take it up to 30. If Pereira doesn't go, it takes it to 31. Twan Sebi's already gone, or it would have been 32. So the amount of players that we've got in this football club is absolutely huge, absolutely massive. But on Trippier, as I said, the information on Trippier is that Atletico Madrid want 28 million. United can't pay that, so they're going to go with Delot, which to me, I'm very happy about. Nothing against Kieran Trippier. I think he's a very, very good player, but I just don't want us to spend that amount of money when we spent £50 million on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. It's a crazy amount of money. And Manchester United shouldn't be doing that. Some will have to leave. It's the logical move, says PT. Well, it's logical, but whether we can do it or not, I don't know. I just don't know. And, people are saying Lingard can stay and Dan James can stay. But, I mean, how are you justifying that? How are you keeping Jesse? How are you keeping Dan James, right? Look at the bench. Like, how do they get on the bench? And I know you're going to say take Mata out and put Jesse there, but you could take Mata out and put Ahmad there. Like, Greenwood's there. Martial's there. It's like, it just, Van der Beek's there. You don't need, look at that team. It's Pogba, Bruno and Matic. And it's Sancho, Cavani and Rashford. Why do you need Dan James or Lingard on there when you've got Martial who can come on for Rashford or Cavani, Greenwood who can come on for Sancho or Cavani, Donny who can come on for Pogba or Bruno, Pogba can play where Bruno plays, Mata can play where Bruno plays because he can't play off the bloody wing anymore. You've got McFred who can play where Matic plays and Pogba plays. You've got Telles who plays where Shaw. I mean, there's no need for Lingard or James, is there? There isn't really any need. And you've got Ahmad and you've got Alanga. You just don't need it. You just don't need them. I think it's almost like Ollie's got this big security blanket on of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Yeah, but I just don't agree with it. I really don't. I think we need to offload these players, but there doesn't seem to be any plan of doing it. And you're going to end up with a lot of unhappy players this season who are not going to play football. Or he's going to have to end up rotating like he's never rotated in his life, and he'll have to rotate too much. But we'll see. Jadon Sancho in training today. Yes, we've seen the pictures with Jadon. That reminds me, actually. I'm still going to talk to you, but let me just get something. So, Jadon Sancho in training with Manchester United today. Looked happy. Did you see the pictures of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer looked absolutely over the moon. I thought he was going to explode with happiness. He was so happy. He was, his face was all big and red. He was doing some big, massive, grinny smile. I was like, bloody hell, Ollie. Chill out, man. But, no, Ollie looks well happy with Sancho. And who wouldn't be? Sanchi. Karaki. Have you seen the pictures of me and Sanchi? Oh, it's me and Sanchi, Karaki, not you. No, he looked very, very happy. And look, I think the great thing about Sancho is, and the thing about Varane on Wednesday, when you actually, the Varane delay has been good in a way. It's not been good because he's not going to play against Leeds, but it's been good in a way because I was thinking about this today. When Varane actually gets announced, that delay is going to make it even better because it's like, bloody hell, we've got one of the world's best centre-backs. You almost forget we've got one of the world's best centre-backs because we haven't seen him in a United shirt or training shirt yet. And the same thing happened with Sancho today. We know he's a United player, but then when you see him running around in a United training kit, it's a different thing. Romano can say, here we go. We can do official, medical, all those videos. But until you see him in a training kit, and it'll be even better when we see him in a United kit, it's like, wow, we've got a real deal player there with Jadon Sancho, and the same with Varane. So yeah, very, that is a positive. Some people will go, oh, so what? He's in training, but he's in training. And I think with Sancho, there is. I think he'll be on the bench. I think he'll be on the bench against Leeds. And if we don't need him, we don't need him. But if we do need him, we do need him. I don't think he'll start. But yeah, very, very, very happy to have Jadon part of the team. And I think that obviously we just got to take 9 points. These first 3 games, you don't play midweek football. Take 9 points, get to the international break and, really kick on after the international break. We've just got to take 9 points against Leeds and Southampton and Wolves. And it won't be easy, but I think we can. Darren G says it's about time he was in training. And thoughts on next year's summer, says Caleb. Well, I don't really want to talk about that. I didn't miss Dean Henderson in the graphic at all, Harin Ranan. If you actually watched the video and used your ears, you'd know that I said I haven't got a graphic for Henderson and Heaton, but I added them into the numbers. That's the most important thing. We need a strong and resolute CDM this summer. Furthermore, I want the Glazers out, says JB. Transfer window patchwork from them once again. They're clueless. And look, I don't know what you think, but if I was to say to you that the transfer window, has it been a success? If it is finished, and it could be finished, if it is finished, is it a success? And I'd say, as an analogy, it's a bit like going out for a night out. You've been invited to a really swanky do, right? Swanky means, high class do, some sort of premiere, right? And you go out and you put on an amazingly expensive pair of Louis Vuitton shoes and an amazingly expensive pair of trousers, right? You go out, right? But you got no shirt on. You're bare up top, and you might have a 6-pack, but you're bare up top, and you've not gelled your hair, and you've not put any aftershave on. So you walk into this party, and you've got amazing shoes on, and you've got amazing trousers on, but up top you're bare, and you've done nothing with your hair, right? That's what I think Man United's transfer window's been like. I can't argue with those shoes. Those shoes are designer shoes. Those trousers, snazzy. They are absolutely fantastic. That's United's transfer window though, because the top half is bare. I can't argue with the shoes and the trousers. They are elite. But it's only half a window for me because you didn't get the midfield, the mid-drift, and you didn't get rid of the deadwood. So we're not fully ready for this party. See what I did there? We're not fully ready for this party. I can't argue with it, but you can't just say Sancho and Varane makes it an amazing summer. Well, you can do. That's your opinion. Of course you can. But you definitely, in my opinion, can't just say Sancho and Varane make it a great summer. And I've said this before in a different way as well. If I said to you, if there's a room to decorate, and I come in at the start of the summer and I'm told I want this room painting, I want carpets on the floor, I want furniture, I want this room to look amazing by August the 31st. And then I come back in and the decorators go, well, we're not finished, there's no carpet, we've painted 3 of the walls, aren't they amazing? And we've got the TV on order for next summer. I'm like, well, you've not done what I've asked you to do. I don't care how expensive the paint is, you've not done it. But some people will be very happy with what we've done in this summer. I'm very happy, but the summer should not be about how great 2 of the problems are that are solved. And they've solved the centre-back problem, gold standard. They've solved the right winger, gold standard. But the midfield, they've failed. And selling players, they've failed. So that's how my mind works about this United transfer summer. Excellent. Par excellente in relation to the right winger and the centre-back. Midfielder, massive letdown. Selling players, massive letdown. And I would say what I said at the start of the video, considering what the Glazers tried to do in April, which was take us out of the Champions League, which in 58... you know what happens with the Busby Babes. In 68, we won it for the first time. 99, 2008. The Champions League, the European Cup, is huge to this club. And these owners tried to take us out of it into some brand franchise shit. And they think half a job on a transfer window is enough just because they've done gold standard centre-back and right winger. I don't think they've done enough. But they might think they have. And they need to not be threatened by that. No one's threatening them. But they should be sat there going, have we done enough? And if they think they've done enough, then I would be very cynical about the people that we've got in charge again, because they're just bank balance managers. I said this at the start of the summer. The danger with what's happened last year is that because these people are about money, they're not doing it to make us like them. They're not doing it because they like Manchester United. They'll do what they're advised to do to get us back where we were a year ago, where some people don't like them and some people don't care about them, and some people are like, well, they're doing okay. And that's what they want. They don't want to be liked. They're not doing this. They're not trying to change things around, in my view, to get liked. They're just doing what it takes enough to not be hated. And that's a very, very different thing. It's a very political thing. You see it in politics a lot. A lot of these political MPs and everything, they're not there to be liked. They're there to just do enough to stay in power. And I think that's what the Glazers might be doing. Varane and Sancho gives them enough in the bank that they can stay in power and the protests stop. But have they actually realised the error of their ways and gone, you know what, we've shit all over this fan base. We're not just going to do enough to, calm things down. We're going to go above and beyond that, because they deserve above and beyond that because of how we treated them. And I certainly don't think they've... I don't think this summer that so far that they have done what they should have done, which is absolutely make it very clear that they are trying to win back the trust and support of the fan base. I think they've just done enough to calm the fires, put the fires out. But they haven't gone beyond that, not in my opinion, because any serious football club, whether it be Chelsea, Man City, they would go, there's Sancho, there's Varane, there's Declan Rice. I've given you the best of everything you could ask for in the 3 positions you wanted. And we failed in the midfield position so far. And I'm 100% on that. I am 100% on that. I said it at the start of May. I said it in June. This transfer window should be Varane, Sancho. Well, I didn't name the players, but top class centre back, done. Top class right winger, done. Top class centre defensive midfielder. Well, where is that? Where is that? And that, to me, is why a lick of paint on Old Trafford, the disgusting behaviour around the women's team, and the failure in certain aspects of this transfer window, and also the meeting with the fan forum where we're meant to be getting shares handed out, but we're still going to take dividends and debt, and we're going to take ages on this share scheme. I just think at the moment I'm very sceptical about what the Glazers are doing, and I think they are just doing the minimum to get back to a point where they're not having protests anymore, where they could have just owned the whole summer if they really cared and delivered on everything that they said they were going to do. Whereas they're always thinking about the bank balance, they're always thinking about the dividends, and I think a lot of people know that, really, that if they don't deliver in this final bit of the window, then really they've just done enough, haven't they? Nikhil, thank you very much for joining the members club. Anyway, let's get into some of your questions, because it's not all about what I think. Kev, Man United fan cam, says, we got left behind years ago. Glazers failed to invest in the squad. This window doesn't sort out our problems. And I think, I do. I'm sure Kev feels it. I'm sure a lot of you feel it. I feel a bit guilty moaning, but I'm not moaning about Sancho and Varane. Like, I think people do live in this one or the other. And there's always in life a massive area in between. You see, people either want to call it a good window or a bad window. Well, you can't call it a bad window when you've got Varane and Sancho. But on the same hand, you can't call it a good window when you haven't sold any of those 28, 9, 30 senior players that we've got, and you haven't bought a midfielder in. So you're operating in that area in between. And that's the important thing. I'll celebrate and applaud Varane. I thought it was a brilliant bit of business. Sancho's a brilliant player. But, should we be so muggy to ourselves that we just sit here with a big grin on our face saying everything's fine? It isn't fine. We are totally reliant on Matic. And we didn't even bloody use him last year. CDM should have been our first transfer this summer. Well, Leo, I actually agree with you there. I thought that CDM was the priority position. I said it last year. I think I've been saying it for 2 years. I can't remember. I've definitely been saying CDM for a long time. But look, Manchester United is in for a very big season. My biggest fear, and I don't. What actually is a question for you, because I did my Premier League predictions show on That's Football today. If we don't sign a CDM, would you keep Garner, Andrew Stewart? No. It's the same as saying, if we sell Delo, would you keep Brandon Williams? They're not ready. They're not ready for what we're going to try and do this season. He's had half a season at a mid-table championship club. That is not fair to throw him into this situation. And Ollie won't do that anyway. You know, you may as well start talking about playing Wan-Bissaka as a CDM like some Prats do. We always talk about the Glazers thinking about dividends, finance and business side, but they always overspend on fees and wages and can't sell players, says Ian McCormack. Well, this is it. I've always said this about the Glazers. You know, for fantastic businessmen, they employ Prats at this football club who pay stupid money. I and you would be better at this job and say I'd make them more money than their current board. Guaranteed. And people are saying, well, you're not a banker, this, that. I've worked in banking, I've worked in finance, but that's not what I know football. That's the thing. I wouldn't give the contracts out that some of these Prats have given out, because I'd be thinking, if I'm giving Marcus Rojo 90 grand a week, how am I going to sell him in 3 years when he flops? And you should never think about a player flopping, but statistically, as I'm sure you know, I know factually that somewhere between 50 and 70% of transfers flop. So if I buy 4 players in the summer and I overpay on wages for all of them, I guarantee, pound to a penny of shit, know that in 2 years' time, when I want to sell 2 of these flops, I will not be able to do it, because I'll be trying to sell them to teams like West Ham and QPR and Brighton, and they won't be able to pay me 80 grand a week for Rojo. United have never thought of it like this. And these are the Prats we've got in charge. You've got the Glazers who talk about dividends and debt and, you know, trying to make money out of the club. But they employ Prats who don't know football. So when they go and negotiate, they get their pants pulled down. Big style. By these agents who see them coming a mile off. And I've heard this firsthand from people in the industry about how United are laughed at in this, and maybe we're going to change now. Maybe we are going to change, but for the last 6-7 years, we've been a bit of a laughing stock. And it is hilarious that the Glazers, who are so about finance and employ people from finance, who actually end up costing them a lot more money than somebody who knows football actually would. And that's the disappointing bit, because they want to be a business who makes money out of a football club. They end up being a business who doesn't know football and cost themselves more money than they would do if they actually ran like a football club. If we were run like a football club, we'd save, the Glazers would make more money. It's a ridiculous paradox. Why was Sancho not training with the team, says David? I don't know. I didn't know he didn't. I saw him training. And if a situation arises when Dalot is outshining Wan-Bissaka in games he's playing and Aaron Wan-Bissaka is underperforming, would you trust Dalot to play first team matches, says S. Ahmed? Well, that's the whole point, isn't it? That is the whole point. If Dalot performs and Wan-Bissaka doesn't, that's the whole point of keeping Dalot. I'm not keeping Dalot because I just want Wan-Bissaka to play. Dalot has to be given that opportunity to play, and if he plays well, he's there to fight with Wan-Bissaka. It's just whether you believe he can do that. A lot of people want Trippier because they think Wan-Bissaka's not good enough and they want Trippier to be the right back. I don't want Trippier because I believe in Wan-Bissaka. But I'm not keeping Dalot because Wan-Bissaka will play every game. I want to keep Dalot because I trust him to push Wan-Bissaka. That's the ideal for me. The fans should run the club and have the say on where we take and who we get rid of, not the board or Glazers, says Apollo 30 times. But going back to what I was talking about before, if I was to say to you, what's your big fear about this season? And we'll go through some of the fears in the chat. My big fear, and look, there's loads. I don't just have one. There's a lot of big fears. I don't want a major injury to a major player. You know, I don't want what happened to Liverpool last year where you lose 2 or 3 players in key positions. Imagine if we lost Matic, Pogba and Fred. We'd be in massive trouble. Massive trouble. So that's a fear. Of course it is. But the big fear in my mind at the moment, and SA says Matic won't last long until McFred are back. Well, yeah, that's a fear, I suppose. McFred is a bloody nightmare, actually. That's not just a fear, it's a nightmare. But my big fear is, we've got this massive opportunity, haven't we? We've got Leeds, Southampton, Wolves, Newcastle, West Ham, Villa. We've got 18 points there. And you know that Man City and Chelsea would look at that and probably get 18 points. So we've got to go for 18 points. My fear is we're going to do what United do. Because these 6 games, they're not really what we do. We don't normally go and win those 6, whether it's under Mourinho, Van Gaal, Moyes or Ollie. We don't normally go and win those 6. If you chuck a Spurs and Chelsea in there, I think we'd probably win. We've probably got more chance of winning all 6 because we're very good against those sort of teams. But the teams where we're expected to go on a really good run, My fear is that we lose 1, draw 2. And instead of having 18 points, we've got like, what would we have with that? If you lose 1, 15, 11 points. So, and that's what worries me, is that this fantastic opportunity that we've got at the start of the season, we just go and be the United team of the last 8 years, which just can't grab the opportunity, can't grab the cup, can't grab the consistency. That's my fear. And that's why I'm a bit worried about no Cavani, no Varane, Pogba, Sancho, Fred. What's their fitness levels like? But that's my fear over the first few weeks of the season. Can we grab that opportunity? I'm not going to say I don't think we will, because I don't want to be negative. But do you think we will? If Donny doesn't play often this season, and with Pogba going in a year as well as Matic getting on a year, I can see us losing Pogba, Matic and Donny. Good point, S. Ahmed. Mark, Ollie seems to want to keep everyone. Does Ollie have some responsibility on the midfielder missing? Says Brad Lewis. Ollie's the manager, mate, at the end of the day. Ollie is the coach. It's a massive season for Ollie. I'm quite relaxed about Ollie. He's got his new contract. I think he's got a good enough team to get top 4, and that gives him a lot of... I think that gives him a lot of leeway. I don't think Ollie... Well, naturally you're going to be nervous, but if I was Ollie, I think he's probably more secure than he's ever been. And I know Ollie outers won't like that, but the Glazers don't sack people who don't get who get top 4. And we could have a really bad season and still finish 4th. So I think Ollie this season could have a bad season, finish 4th, keep his job, but the crowd will turn on him probably. So Ollie's main thing is he's probably never been in such a secure position, but he's got to go for it this year. He's got to go for it. Because the one thing I hear a lot from fans is that they like Ollie, but they don't like the football. So he's got to go for it in the footballing way this year, because he has got a lot of security around him. He's got that contract. I don't see how we can't get top 4. He's got to play some good football this year. Hi Mark, why aren't we able to sell players? Do you think Ollie is holding them back? How do we solve this? That's why we aren't being able to buy more, says Sarish. And hi Mark, the dollars from Lukaku plus Lingard, can't we go for Rice? Says Dizzery. Yeah, but we're only getting 4 million from Lukaku. I keep telling people this. They keep saying that Inter Milan owe us 40 million from the Lukaku deal. But if you work in banking, that 40 million's already in United's books. Just because you're owed money doesn't mean that it's not part of you. It's like an owed debt. It's an official owed debt. That's not a bonus 40 million coming in. It's already been through the books. So when it comes in, it's already on the bloody spreadsheet. The 4 million we're going to get from Lukaku going to Inter, well, that's just 4 million. So I wouldn't get too excited about that one, to be honest with you. And going back to what Sarish said, the reason we can't sell players is for what I was talking about a few minutes ago. The reason we can't sell players is because we're terrible at buying players. And look, imagine if we tried to sell Sancho in a couple of years. His wages are massive. Martial, some people want to see Martial sold. We gave him 250 grand a week a couple of years ago. Not easy to sell. David De Gea, and I don't want Martial to go, but I'm going to be fair in what I'm going to say. If you want to sell Martial, it ain't very easy because he's on 250 grand a week, reportedly. If you want to sell De Gea, it ain't very easy. He's on 350k a week. If you want to sell Lingard, he's on 100k a week, apparently. If you want to sell Phil Jones, he's on 80 grand a week. So these players, whether you like them or you don't like them, imagine if Luke Shaw had a bad season. He's on over 150 grand a week. Some say he's on 200 grand a week. If you want to sell Juan Mata, 140 grand a week. These players, and look, Mata's been here a long time. Luke Shaw's been here a long time. It doesn't matter whether you go back to Mata. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you go back to 2013 or you go back to 2020. Consistently, over the last 7-8 years, we overpay on wages. And that's because of our recruitment board. So when you want to sell players, it's very difficult. Now, people were saying we should get Harry Kane and give them Anthony Martial and Jesse Lingard and another player. And I said at the time, Harry Kane is on less wages than Anthony Martial. Spurs are not going to want to pay Anthony Martial more money than they were paying Harry Kane. They might want Martial, but they won't want to pay his wages. And that's the problem. United cannot offload players because we overpay. Look at Romero, couldn't offload him. Rojo, couldn't offload him. Sanchez, couldn't offload him. I know we did, but we took massive hits in doing it. So the reason we can't sell players is because we're crap at recruiting. And people say, well, you're not that crap. You bought Sancho, Varane and Pogba and everyone like that. But I guarantee the wages are very big. And for some of the players, it's justifiable. For a lot of them, it's not. And this is why we can't sell players, because we overpay. Not on the fee, sometimes on the fee, but the wages. The wages are ridiculous at this football club. And when you've got 27, 28 senior players, and I always say senior players, when you've got 27, 28 senior players, your wage bill is horrific. And when you can't shift them, your squad gets bigger and your wage bill gets bigger. United should have 20 senior players. That's all they need, supplemented by 5 or 6 younger players. We've got way too many. How many players are worth the wages they're on, says Steve Locke? Well, I think that's a very difficult question, isn't it? Because, you know, who's really worth 200 grand a week in this world? I don't know. So if it's the salary, aren't we becoming another Barca? I don't want my club to go through the same thing, Mark. We won't become another Barcelona, Sarish, because we're in a fortune. Whether it's fortune or not, we won't become another Barcelona because we're not in a league that's shit. And I mean that in the sense that the way La Liga has been run has created that situation where Real Madrid and Barcelona keep spending and spending and spending, but when they get into trouble, there's nobody in La Liga that can bail them out. What I mean by that is the league isn't a strong brand. If United or Liverpool or Arsenal got into financial difficulties, they're always protected by the Premier League, and the Premier League brand will protect a club. Doesn't mean you can't go out of business, but you are protected by that brand. But if the Premier League bubble ever bursts, United would need to be careful because we're in debt and our wage bill is ridiculous. And I'm telling you now, if this interests you, I'll just finish it with this. We are owned by people who want to run a business and not a football club. The weird thing is, we're making the same mistakes as Leeds when they nearly went bankrupt. Huge amounts of money being spent on players that they shouldn't really have at the club. We're a business and the Glazers want to make money, but they actually waste a lot of money on an inflated, greedy squad. We don't need all the players we've got. We've got too many players on too much money. And they do want to be a business and they want to make money. But the hilarious thing is, in a sad way, is they've got too many players on too much money. They could be saving themselves millions of pounds a week and still have a good squad. But they don't, because they can't get rid of them because they paid them too much money in the first place. New contract to be announced as a new signing, says S. Ahmed. Well, they've always got that, yeah. How important of a season is this for Donny, says S. Ahmed. Please smash a like on the video if you're watching, by the way. And Rishab says he's just heard that Cavani might have to quarantine for 10 days. The reality is, if Cavani does have to quarantine, he's not going to be in the Southampton game. Forget the Leeds game. He's not involved in that. He's not going to be in the Southampton game. And look, I'll go back to what I said at the start of the video. We'll talk about Donny in a minute. But I am irritated. I understand it, but it doesn't mean I can't be irritated. I am irritated by the fact that we are not ready for Leeds. I am irritated by the fact that for justifiable reasons, there's 2 or 3 players you can justifiably see why they're not ready for the Leeds game, but it is still irritating as a Manchester United fan that we couldn't put even 8 of our best players out if we wanted to. We won't be able to put 8 of our best players out on Saturday. We're missing at least 3 first team players on Saturday, maybe more, and that's frustrating at the start of a season where there's 3 points. Was some of that preventable? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It's not really about that. I'm just irritated that we can't put our best team out against Leeds. I don't mind 1 or 2 missing, but we might have 3 or 4 missing. That's not good preparation. Maybe it was unavoidable, but it's not great. Jebin says we are ready for Leeds. Well, mate, I'm really glad that you think we are ready for Leeds, but I would say you're talking out your arse, because Cavani would start for me, Sancho would start for me, Varane would start to me, and Pogba would start for me. Now, Pogba might start, but I don't think he's fit, and I don't think Varane's going to start, and I don't think Cavani's going to start, and Sancho probably not going to start either. So there's 4 first-team players who aren't going to start. Obviously, Rashford's not starting because he's injured. You can't say... You could include that if you want to. But to say we're ready for Leeds when we've got 4 first-team players doubtful is very very different. I do think we'll win. I'll predict we'll beat Leeds. But what I'm saying is I'm a bit irritated that this is a massive season for us. And it goes back to my fear, really. My fear is the first 6 games we should win. And if we drop any of those points... I just think there's such an opportunity. And you know what I'm like. I'm very intense in my support and I get very passionate about it. And I'm like, we've got 6 winnable games there. If we win those 6 games, we'll be top of the league. You can't not be top of the league if you've won 6 games. The confidence and momentum that we take into the rest of the season then is huge. It's such an opportunity. I don't want to slip up because we weren't ready. But we're not going to be ready, are we? So we're just going to have to hope we don't slip up. That's what it's all about, though. It's exciting. How many times are we going to say it's a work in progress, says SA? Well, I personally don't say that anymore, SA, and it goes back to what the question was there. What makes me laugh, Mark, is we have an inflated squad and he didn't make subs. It's baffling, says Stephen. Well, he's got to. He's got to make them this year. But no, I'm not going to make any excuses. Jordan is still part of the channel, yes, Ellis. We're all getting very prepped for the start of the season now. And obviously with the transfer window, it's very difficult to do regular shows. But from Saturday, you will start to see structure around the United stand. So Jordan is still part of it, yes. And Jay and Kev and everybody else. People also forgetting Martial played only 1 game for us in 6 months too. He might need a month to get back to his best. Yeah, Christian, I don't... Look, whether people class Martial as a first-team player or not, he's another one who's not ready for Saturday, really. He's not going to be ready for Saturday. He might have to start, but he won't be fully fit. You're right. But yeah, look, I'm not going to say, I don't know what everybody else thinks. I refuse, and pull me up on this season when I do it. I have said over the last 18 months we're a work in progress. We're not a work in progress anymore. I'm not saying that. That cannot be an excuse anymore. How can you be a work in progress when you've spent over £400 million on players? How can you be a work in progress when you're coming up for 3 years here? How can you be in work in progress when you've gone 3rd, 2nd, and this is your 3rd year? We're not a work in progress anymore. We've got to deliver. Now, delivering might not be winning the title. Delivering could be, pushing for a title all the way. We can't be a work in progress anymore. And that fits in perfect with Donny. Donny cannot be a work in progress player this year. I don't think he should have been a work in progress player last year. I think he should have got more game time last year. But he can't be a work in progress player again. You cannot spend £35 million on a player and have 2 years where you're not using them because they're still adapting. He's a Champions League semi-finalist. He's a Dutch international. He's played for Ajax. He can't be a work in progress. He's got to play or not or go. And Van der Beek has a massive season. So I don't want to hear work in progress or excuses this year. And that's not putting pressure onto Ollie and the team. It should galvanise them. No more messing about. No more semi-final losses. No more bottling Leeds. No more bottling against Leeds. No, I don't want that to happen at all. No more losing cup finals. No more being top and then bottling against bloody Sheffield United at home. This season is about delivering. That's what we must do. Deliver. And I want to see people like Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire, who were so close to winning the Euros, taking that disappointment and turning it into another gear in their game. And I think, Varane will give that leadership. Cavani gives that leadership. Bruno gives that leadership. Wan-Bissaka goes up a level. Sancho comes in and gives some creativity. Pogba, hopefully has a stable season. Martial, Greenwood, Rashford. Let's have a really good season, but not with any level of complacency or excuses or work in progress. No more. We've got to go for it this year. We mean business this year. Let's go and do it. And I still think we've got to buy a midfielder. And I think get a midfielder in, and I think the fan base will be very, very happy. Phil Jones can give that leadership. Look, with regards to Phil Jones, if he plays in the Carabao Cup, I'd be quite happy for him. But I don't see Phil Jones offering us anything. We've still got Lindelof and Bailly. I just can't see Phil Jones playing any Premier League games. Mark, keep up all the top work. All of you do on the United stand. Thanks in advance for the season ahead, mate, says Andy and Bruno. And excuses, not you, mate, meant the board. Hashtag excuses, says SA. Well, let's hope not. Let's hope not. Well, look, I'm just very excited about the season. I mean, I've been speaking to a lot of people today about various things to do with the channel and talking about the weekend and everything like that. I just can't wait. I actually cannot. It brings a smile to my face. I can't believe we're only 5 days away from that 12:30 kickoff against Leeds. I'm just so excited. 75,000 people in the ground, 3 points up for grabs, Premier League football. It just feels different this time. It just feels different because last season, I'll always be grateful to all of the clubs, all of the players for providing us with football in very difficult times. Like Christmas for me, like for many people in the UK, I didn't get to see any family. It was basically Christmas with your close family, New Year with your close family. You couldn't go out, you couldn't go to the pub, you couldn't see family and friends. But over Christmas, we had United playing. And I'll always be indebted. And there is a massive amount of praise that will never get given because it will go to the NHS and everybody else, quite rightly. But footballers, Solskjaer, managers, clubs, they gave us something over the last season that really we might not have got. You look at the world we were living in, it was very all over the place. So I'll now always be indebted for last season because it gave me, as somebody who's massively into football, it helped my mental health. Having footballers as something that was stable was really important. And I'll always be grateful for it. But with no fans in the ground, it just wasn't that. It was like a pie that's not full. From Saturday, this feels like, I'm getting goosebumps. This feels like pre-COVID, when we didn't even know what COVID was, and every game was packed out, and it's just going to be different. And look, not just United. I'm looking forward to watching Arsenal on Friday night. I'm looking forward to watching Man City Spurs on Sunday. I'm just looking forward to having football back. And of course, amongst that, having United back and the excitement is great. But I just don't want that bubble to burst in the first 6 games. And as I said, that's my biggest fear. I want us to go and win these 6 games, and I believe we can do. I don't want us to drop points against Leeds. I don't want us to drop points away to Southampton. I want us to get off to a good start, and we can do it. Rodgers has 2 trophies with a lower total spend, says De Niro. You know, look, if you don't like Ollie, you don't like Ollie. If you do like Ollie, you do like Ollie. The reality is we haven't kicked a ball in this season. All summer, I've listened to the Ollie outers and I've said you've got every right to be Ollie out, but ultimately, I would just wait. I would wait. I would see how the transfer window goes, but most importantly, I would wait for those first few games of the season, because that's when you're going to find out whether you're right about Ollie or whether you're wrong. And to be honest with you, some people might be going, oh, fucking hell, Ollie's going to win the first 6 games and he's going to, this, that and the other. I don't think we will win the first 6 games. And I think if we don't win the first 6 games and we drop points, that's just going to cause more issues for the people saying he's not the right man. That's where I'm nervous, but we bloody well can win those first 6 games, and I'm excited about it, and I hope we do. Is that your real chair you sit on, or just part of your green screen? No, the chair's real, look, because it moves. James. I used to have a not real chair, but this is definitely a real one. Do you believe we have enough leaders in our current first team like we had during Sir Alex Ferguson's days? Well, we don't have enough leaders, Yogesh, in relation to that, but we do have a lot of leaders. Look, anyway, check out the video with Fabrizio Romano I did this afternoon. I know a lot of you might have been at work or out or anything like that. That video is on the home channel, on the home page, Fabrizio Romano and Goldbridge. 20-minute interview with Fabrizio. We covered everything from Pogba to Martial, from Dalot to Camavinga, all club covered. So make sure you check out that. He did say in that something very interesting at the end. He expects United to sign another player. So let's hope and think and pray that it is going to be a United player coming in, is in a midfielder. But to be honest with you, when you look at that, 27, 28 senior players, massive amount of players, isn't it? Anyway, look, I've really enjoyed the show tonight. Fantastic, again, from the live chat. If you're not watching live, you're still fantastic, but we've had a cracking show tonight. Make sure you smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the interview with Romano, and I'll speak to you all in a bit. Take care. Thanks for watching.